Thank you for listening to Radio Free Idyllwild, the official music and podcast station for Idyllwild, California, the San Jacinto Mountains, and beyond.
The Riverside County Film Commission and the Riverside County Economic Development Agency are proud to sponsor the Idyllwild International Festival of Cinema. With a region of over 7,300 square miles, the Riverside County Film Commission works closely with all 28 cities located within its borders, as well as state and federal agencies, to help streamline your production and ensure its success, assisting with everything from permitting in all jurisdictions to finding just the right locations for your shoot and many other production necessities. Riverside County, the perfect fit for your next film production.
Since its opening in 2015, Faro Restaurant has been one of Idyllwild's leading restaurants, applauded for both its gracious service and casual take on fine dining. Nestled in the heart of the beautiful alpine village of Idyllwild, California, Faro is more than just great food and elegant surroundings. It's a treasure destination not to be missed. Faro Restaurant, an official sponsor of the Idyllwild International Festival of Cinema. It's Italian, elevated.
Hey guys, it's your boy Savage here to tell you about one of my favorite places to hang whenever I'm in Idyllwild, the Idyllwild Brew Pub. They feature 21 of their own specialty crafted on-tap beers, as well as some of the most delicious pub-style food around. The Brew Pub has a full bar offering craft cocktails and spirits too good to pass up. They're also famous for their to-go beers, so you can enjoy their great tasting house brews back at the cabin. The Brew Pub utilizes only the best ingredients in their beers: crisp and clean Idyllwild well water, style-specific malted barley and other grains from the U.S., England, Belgium, Canada, and Germany, as well as fresh hops from around the globe. And best of all, they're an official supporter of the Idyllwild International Cinema Festival. So come on down and join me for some great mountain hospitality at Idyllwild Brew Pub, and check out their website at idyllwildbrewpub.com, and I'll see you there. Cheers.
You're listening to The Stephen Savage Show on Radio Free Idyllwild. And now, here's your host, film and television director, Stephen Savage.
Thank you, Nicole. How's it going, everyone? Savage here with you for a very special Savage Classics episode of The Stephen Savage Show, the official podcast of the Idyllwild International Festival of Cinema. Podcasting, as always, from Cranium Wheel Studios in Chateau Esteban in the beautiful alpine village of Idyllwild, California. Just a couple hours east of Los Angeles, but a world away at nearly 6,000 feet, high atop majestic Mount San Jacinto and overlooking the great Coachella Valley. And as I've been telling you over the past dozen or so editions of the podcast, we're technically on hiatus at the moment as I'm in pre-production on my next two feature films, and it just takes up a lot of time. But I've been hopping in and out of the studio whenever time allows to do a short intro for one of our past episodes featuring interviews that actually first posted years ago to present interviews that I feel new listeners might enjoy and our regular listeners might have missed the first time around. So before we get started, let me bring on again one of my partners in crime, not just as producers and co-hosts on this show, but also as one of my film production partners and as the Executive Festival Director's Advisor for the Idyllwild International Festival of Cinema. In other words, my eyes and ears, and the one who mostly has my back during the festival when I'm just trying to get all those hands shook and playing host to our famous Hollywood friends. In other words, keeping me safe in a bubble that she provides. So let's say hello to the one, the only Nicole Hughes-Bradshaw. Nicole, how the hell are you?
That was quite an entrance. Thank you. I have to have you write most of my entrances now.
And pick some music. I'll put a soundtrack together too.
That's
some
sweet.
Interest music. Hey, you've been traveling a ton the past couple months.
Yeah, a lot.
Tell our listeners just where you've been, so because you haven't been here, much to my chagrin. But
yeah, after the festival I got going on the road and went out to Java, Indonesia
to collect Starbucks merchandise.
That's all I do. That's a very well-known secret that you've let out the bag on this show many times. For many reasons, but we have another import company, so doing some projects out that way. Also Man, they have a lot of longevity protocols out there that we in the United States don't practice. I know that sounds funny because I'm only 40-something, but I want to live the same way I am now when I'm 80. So, even though those 15-hour flights don't rejuvenate you, they definitely take years.
All your flights are long because you've been to China recently. You were in India. I mean,
I started in Java, went to China, got a bunch of tailored suits. No one understands. In other countries, things are just much more simpler for me.
Right.
I feel like the U.S. complicates it with all the red tape and all the fun mumbo jumping in and out. I need 3 doctors to get 1 shot. It's a very difficult thing. But Java, Indonesia, China, all the different parts. I also went to Shanghai Disney. That was interesting. So now, by the way, I am now complete on all of my Disney trips. I went international Disney, 100% checked off the board, waiting for Abu Dhabi to be built. And then I will go there in 2029.
Wow.
So.
What about museums and things?
You already know you're going to step into that one. I love my husband, and his favorite thing are museums and architecture. And my favorite things are cave diving. And
Right.
And spelunking, as well as diving in the open ocean with large mammals.
Nice.
So if you put me and my husband on a trip that's supposed to be fun and energetic,
is he one of the large mammals? Or?
No.
It's not that big.
He's lost weight too, so he's doing
tall,
really good.
but he's not.
Yeah.
He's
doing really good. But there's a lot. Yeah, our trips end up being waking up very early to go on some random full group tour of some architectural thing that was built millions of years ago.
Yeah.
And then grabbing Starbucks and all the merchandise with us. Have to go back to the hotel to drop it off. By the way, this time I definitely spent more on my Starbucks merch than I did my airline ticket.
Wow.
Yeah. And we upgraded to first class.
So you're insane.
I think I'm going to start my own Starbucks podcast.
Yeah, you'd be the one to do it.
I have enough to where I could have one day every year a completely different conversation about that specific product.
Well, I'm just glad you came up for air and came up from the desert today long enough to make it into the studio. And but before we get started with this Savage Classics interview, we'd like to give a shout out to the Idyllwild Film Festival's official lodging sponsor, Talk Eats Pines Retreat, Idyllwild's premier venue for weddings, family reunions, romantic getaways, or just about any large or small gathering or event. But even if you're simply coming to Idyllwild for a quick summer break, be sure to book your lodging at Talk Eats Pines Retreat, and you can check them out at talkeatspines.com. That's TAHQUITZ, talkeatspines.com. Okay, Nicole, shall we get on with the show?
Please, that'd be fun.
This is an interview I conducted way back in 2017 on stage before a packed, standing room only crowd at the Rustic Theatre in downtown Idyllwild. That's our official theater home of the Idyllwild Cinema Fest. With the interviews with Oscar and Golden Globe nominee and the head of our grand jury at the festival, the incredible Anne Archer. And everyone is, of course, acutely aware of Anne's resume. She starred in such Hollywood blockbusters as Clear and Present Danger, Patriot Games, Fatal Attraction. The list just goes on and on. And it was fun to have her back at the festival. But just a quick note before we push play and get going. The sound quality isn't exactly what we had planned for the live event. It's all right, but Anne wasn't sure she would make it to the festival on time to do the scheduled interview on stage, and only at the last minute called me and said, find me a room because I'm driving in now from L.A. And she arrived just like half an hour before the event, and somehow it all came together, and word went out to everyone attending the festival, and the crowd was huge and eager, but the sound tap into the recording system for some reason decided not to work. So we were just out of time, so I just had our ambassadors stand at the back of the theater and pull out their iPhones and grab the live PA audio from thin air. So not a bad job by them, and we managed to get the interview recorded on the fly. Not exactly the sound quality I like, but the interview's fine. You'll you'll be able to hear everything. So here it is, my onstage interview with the great Ann Archer from 2017, and enjoy. What I'd like to do is just start off talking about some of her moments, some of her films, some of her directors and actors that she's worked with, and then we'll open everything up to Q&A, if that works for you.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Good. So first of all, I'd like to just talk about something I've always found interesting in your career, and I'll move around a little bit, is you worked with some of the most amazing leading men in the industry. Harrison Ford, Michael Douglas, it goes on and on and on. As an actress, when you're, especially early in your career, when you're working with like directors like Robert Altman, what's that like when you walk onto a set when you've only done 1, 2, 3 movies and you're trying to feel your way through the industry, and there's somebody on set, a big director, a big actor? How intimidating is that as a young actress?
Well, actually, did I turn this on or off?
Yeah, I think you're on. Good.
Are we on?
No.
Are we on now? Okay, good. Actually, I had a rather unusual experience because I went to the Claremont colleges and majored in theater arts, and that's when I did the Ramon Festival when I was in college. And an agent came and saw me in a play in college, and then wanted to sign me, and I did. And I graduated from college, and a few months later, he got me an audition for a film called The All-American Boy that John Voight was starring in. It was his first film after Midnight Cowboy. And so I got it. So I never had that thing of doing a bunch of films and then finally getting the big film. It was the big film. He was the biggest star in America at that time. It was a director, actually, however, who was directing his first movie. He also wrote it. It was quite good. But we had all the bells and whistles in terms of cinematography and, crew and all that sort of thing. So I kind of started in a rather big way. And then I've learned on smaller productions where I've been more personally involved how to operate through that experience. My husband actually wrote a screenplay called The Squeeze, which he directed and I produced, and we did that not too long ago, 2012, and that's when I really got my feet wet in terms of behind-the-scenes production. And it was a great learning experience. It's very humbling.
When you get a script, especially nowadays, there's so much independent film going on, and I know when you get the script for a big budget Hollywood kind of movie, I know that's one process, but you've done some smaller budget indies. What is it? Is it script first? What is it that draws you to a character in a budget that, say, isn't a clear and present danger or that kind of movie?
Well, I think number one, the material. Absolutely, the script. Good material will attract any artist, whether you're an actor or a director or even a cinematographer wanting to be involved. I mean, the better the script, the more intriguing it is. So I think it starts there, and then obviously for an actor, if the role is interesting enough, if it doesn't offer any value, then no, it's hard sometimes. You don't want to do it, but if there's something there for you, or if it's a smaller project and what it's about is super important, you want to contribute your name and whatever star power you have to help make that thing be seen by as many people as possible.
Yeah, so it seems to me like when I taught directing at AFI or I've taught at the Screen Actors Guild Conservatory, there's a lot of young filmmakers who think that they can't approach an actor of like Ann's status. It's just not going to happen. And I always say, you never know. I've approached the landlady of some actor who I wanted in my movie, and she got the script to him, and you just never can tell what might take place, what might transpire to actually get that actor, if your script's good, to get them interested in your script.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, and I think a good example of it is, about a year and a half ago, I have an organization called Artists for Human Rights, and I've met a lot of amazing activists in the human rights arena. And one of them is a man named Siddharth Kara, who's the foremost authority on human trafficking. And he wrote a screenplay, and he gave it to me actually a long time ago, and I didn't read it. I'm so embarrassed to say I never quite got to it. And then one day I get a phone call from him saying that his film is being made, and that they're about to start shooting, and that Alfie Woodard was actually supposed to play a very small role, just a few days, as a nun, and Ashley Judd was in it, playing also a very small role, and the main leads were three completely unknown actresses. And Alfie fell out because of another film, and would I do it? And because it was about human trafficking, I read the script first. That's why you're right. It's all about the script. The script was actually quite good, and I said, okay, I'll do it. And as it turned out, the director is a friend of yours, Will Wallace. And so there was an example of name actors committing to a project because the script was certainly not embarrassing. It was absolutely fine. But mainly, the story was a story that needed to be told. It was really important. So very often, you will get really experienced name actors doing projects because the subject matter is something they personally care about.
I was intrigued this morning when you were having breakfast. I was intrigued when you were talking about your organization. Can you tell us a little more about that?
In 2006, I started an organization called Artists for Human Rights because I feel that artists giving their voice to human rights issues can change hearts and minds overnight, can have a profound effect, and that we all need to take more responsibility to take on these issues and bring our artistry to them, because that reaches so many people. And so I started these salons at my home where we would invite major activists, whether it was in human trafficking or international issues, poverty, all kinds of issues, and they would come and speak, and we would invite the artistic community, producers, directors, and other activists, actors, to come to my house to learn about a subject and then get active. It's been super successful, and we continue to do it this day. And I think the inspiration for this actually was an organization that you're honoring their film this year, CCHR, the Citizens Commission on Human Rights, who did that film, Marketing of Madness and Making a Killing, about the pharmaceutical industry drugging children, everybody, but especially children with psychotropic drugs. It's really important, and I feel very passionate about that. And so that's what really galvanized my interest in human rights and made me form my own organization.
It's funny because that, mentioning that one documentary, Marketing of Madness especially, but that a couple of films from that organization are what led to my writing the screenplay for my next feature film, The Wind of Heaven, dealing with veterans issues and how we touch upon it a little bit in Tucker's War, the post-traumatic stress thing. If you notice Tucker's characters dealing with that a little bit. We deal with it a lot more in The Wind of Heaven, a returning veteran who comes home to Montana after some harrowing experiences, and his family's expecting him to take over the big cattle ranch that they have, and he just isn't ready to do it. And through a Native American spirit healer that he runs into, a quirky guy who lives in a trailer in the middle of nowhere with a satellite dish, but the Native American cultures, they've been dealing with their returning veterans and post-traumatic stress really well. They don't send them to veterans hospitals where they're pumped full of drugs. They take a more spiritual approach, and through this native healer and a herd of wild Mustangs, our hero, Cole, finally starts to get himself back. But I think the issue is so important. And I was going to ask you, as far as your own sort of spirituality, your own inner sort of journeys, what's led you think, to this place in your career? Decisions you've made, let's say in the last 15 years, has that played a major part in what you're about?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I've always cared a lot about human rights, and even as a young child. And then I've been a Scientologist for years, and one aspect of that is responsibility. taking responsibility to help your community, the world, to lead a good life. And I certainly learned about human rights issues through what CCHR has been doing. And so yeah, I think it certainly has influenced me. And as an artist, you ask, well, what can you do to give back? What can you do to help things? And that certainly was the impetus for me forming my own organization.
I'd like to open it up to questions now, and we're free to ask about Anne's movies, because I'm when I have someone here at the festival to answer questions, I like to get a little deeper than just the body of work, but that's really what Anne is known for. So, is there any questions out there? Anybody'd like to ask anything? Right here.
I have a question from an actor's standpoint. What would you say your most challenging role was, acting-wise? And if you mind sharing how you prepared for that role a little bit with us?
My most challenging, boy. It's very often when you're in the middle of them, they seem the most challenging. Well, actually, I recently did a play that my husband wrote called The Trial of Jane Fonda, and it's about her anti-Vietnam War activism in the 60s and 70s, and she was vilified for an incident where she went to North Vietnam and was photographed sitting on an anti-aircraft gun site. And then the internet, about 8 years after she actually helped end the Vietnam War, interestingly enough, and the Paris peace talks resumed to end that war right after she returned from Vietnam. But 8 years later, there was a lot on the internet by the military who really vilified her, and much of it wasn't true, and my husband came across that information just by accident, became interested, started researching it, and found out that there's a lot of untruth and misunderstanding and hatred and politicizing of that war and her participation in it. So we wrote a play, and it was nothing to do with me. I thought, this is great. He's writing the play. He met with Jane. He met with vets, et cetera, and eventually it was ready to be workshopped, and he asked me if I would just do a reading of it to just hear how it sounded, and I did, and I realized that the suit fit beautifully because it's really about human rights. It takes place around an event where she met with 26 angry vets who were boycotting the filming of Stanley and Iris, which is a film that she did with Robert De Niro in Waterbury, Connecticut. They lived around Waterbury, and they were boycotting the film because of her activity during the Vietnam War. And so she said, I want to meet with them. So she met alone in a church meeting room with 26 vets and told her story. Well, that's a beautiful basis for a play. That role is like a monologue that goes on for an hour and a half, or her defending herself to these guys. And that's the hardest thing I've ever done. It took me quite a bit of time to really internalize it and become the woman and go through her journey and then get on stage every single night. And it was probably the most powerful and growing experience I've ever had as an actress. We actually did it in London this summer, and now we're taking it to New York. So, yes, when you have to carry a piece all on your own, especially live, on stage every night, that's the hardest. And I would say in terms of film, your question, in terms of developing as an actor, go do theater. Do theater, and do a lot of it, and do both. And you will find your journey into any character that you then are asked to create on film. And in terms of the technique, we all have studied with different people. We all have different techniques. I'd say the techniques are 4 times of trouble, and that the best work is when you internalize it, and how you do that can be a combination of so many things depending on what the part is. But in terms of your original question, what was the hardest thing? Was definitely the play. There have been other roles that have had challenges, but I don't think I've ever faced anything as challenging as this play.
I think I need to get some. Can you hold all of this stuff and drink?
Oh, I have water right there.
Okay.
I'm good. Am I holding this in the right? Am I holding that? Okay. Not quite sure what this all is.
We've got more things for Ann to hold as we go on. We're just going to have people come up and hand her things to hold on to. Over here.
If you weren't the successful actress that you are, where do you think you would be? What would you want to do?
Well, it's such a hard question because I come from a family of film people. My mother was an actress. My father was an actor. My stepfather, a theatrical producer. And so from the time I was born, I lived around actors and artists and in my home. So I kind of knew probably when I was about 4 that I wanted to act. And so people have asked me that question before. I don't know what I would do. I'm sure I would do something in the arts, maybe produce or write, direct. I would think that would be it for me.
She'd come here and hold things for us.
Exactly.
That brings up a good point. One second, I'll get back to questions. But have you thought about directing at all film?
I have not a lot, and I the hardest thing about directing, I think, and you'll have to tell me, is making a decision. It's like, okay, we're doing it this way, and this is the. And I always have all these options out there. And I always thought, would I be definitive enough as a director, say, this is what we're shooting, this is how we're going to shoot it, da-da-da-da-da-da. And I didn't pursue it. I think I'm better at producing, frankly. I see all aspects of things, and I am willing to look at every detail and make sure everything is working and work with people. And I think I'm probably a better producer than a director. If I were forced to and someone could get me past the mechanics of it and just handed me a camera and said, let's go, I realize I have a lot of instincts because I've been around it so long, but I don't know whether, and I'm married to a man who's been a producing director all his life, so, I watched the best do it, and sometimes that's a little intimidating.
Ann said she might direct if someone handed her camera. My experience has been as a director, the last person you want holding the camera is the director.
Yeah, but that could be.
Over here.
I have just 2 quick questions. Do you have any roles that you had turned down that you then regretted? And do you have any, funny or embarrassing stories from being on set?
I don't have any regrets about anything. No, there isn't one I turned down that I regret. There's some that I really wanted that I didn't go after particularly because I thought, not a big enough part, and I wish I had. One was in the Titanic, Frances Fisher's role in that, which, gave her a lot of exposure. It was a smaller role, but I should have probably done it. But no, I live in today. There's not much point in looking back. It doesn't actually feed anything for the future. And what was the other question?
Do you have any funny stories to share with us from on set?
Oh, wow, that's a question that every reporter always asks you, and then I always go, oh, golly, what can I... I would have had to have sort of thought about, gee, what are the funny stories I'm going to tell you today from on set?
I'll ask you next time then.
Yes, I can't think of anything offhand right now.
Frances Fisher was here 2 years ago, and she said, God, I'm glad Ann didn't go for that role.
There you go.
I've got this real bright light in my eyes, so I can't see right there.
And I'd like to know what you can remember about being in the Ramona pageant. If you have what you thought of it. We had Frank Sorrell back 4 years ago. Unfortunately, we lost him that year. But he had some great stories that he told me, and I'd just like to know what your experience was being in our pageant.
Well, it was really a fun experience for me. I was just starting as an actor doing plays in college there, and this was a lovely opportunity because I think I was first most intimidated by the size. It's a huge. You have a huge area. Well, you don't call it it's not an auditorium. It's an amphitheater. It's a huge amphitheater. So just being able to project and communicate all that emotion, in such a big space was probably the most challenging. But it was fun to be acting in a real set. Up in the mountains and everything that was built in that way. It wasn't like a stage closed in with lights. So I found that really intriguing and challenging, and I thought it was a great story, and I had a lot of passion for the character. And it was a great first experience for me that really challenged me, and I think I grew a lot as an actor, and I went right from graduating then into a summer repertory company back east, and I think the Ramona pageant made that possible for me because I had some acting, I got more acting chops from doing it, so it was great.
That place is intimidating. When I was honored enough to be asked to rewrite the play, Laurie Van Arsdale and Tammy Wilhelm asked me to come to the bowl and check it out, and Tammy took me out for the first time. She said, "Don't just walk with me, and the first time you see that place, holy crap, 300, the cast of 300, and you want me to do what, right, what?" But they were so nice. I told them I wanted the American and Mexican Army, and they said, okay. It got funny when I said I wanted to bring a 3,000-pound cannon in and shoot it off a couple times. They wouldn't let me, but yeah, the place is kind of daunting at times when you walk in first.
Have you heard about the Art Alliance of Idyllwild? Our mission is to create community through art. This year's calendar of events to support that mission is July 18th, Home Studios Tour. August 8th, Plein Air Festival. September 5th, Here and Now. October 10th, Art Walk and Wine Tasting. December 4th, Art Cake Giveaway. December 5th, Winter Solstice Show. Visit artinidlewild.org and follow us on Instagram at Art Alliance of Idyllwild for details.
Welcome to the world of New Spirit Vacation Homes, Idyllwild's premier vacation home rental provider. Whether it be an escape from the heat, a visit to the snow, or for the Idyllwild International Festival of Cinema, we have the perfect vacation rental for you. New Spirit Vacation Homes is distinctive from any other vacation rental company, not only because our guests have the broadest choice of luxurious homes to choose from, but also because we ensure guests' expectations are met and they have the most enjoyable and fulfilling getaway. New Spirit Vacation Rentals, an official sponsor of the Idyllwild International Film Festival. Find us at newspiritvacationhomes.com.
Woodland Park Manor, one of Idyllwild, California's best-known and beloved lodging destinations, is a rustic treat for the casual overnighter or vacation traveller. With its many unique rooms and cottages and that special hideaway feel, Woodland Park Manor gives new meaning to the word relaxation. Nestled among the tall pines and centuries-old oak trees, the manor says Idyllwild the moment you enter the property. As a sponsor of the Idyllwild International Festival of Cinema since year one, all festival attendees are treated like family, because that's what you are to the proprietors. Woodland Park Manor, Idyllwild, California. Book your room now and tell them you're coming for the festival. You will love it.
Hi, it's Ashley Stewart from Team Stewart at Idyllwild Realty, your trusted local expert in the heart of Idyllwild, California. Whether you're buying your dream cabin, selling your mountain home, or looking for the perfect investment, our team delivers unmatched knowledge, personal service, and real results. From cozy cabins to stunning view properties, Team Stewart makes it happen. Visit idbroker.com today. Your Idyllwild adventure starts here.
Between you and your daughter and Michael Douglas, and I was wondering how much rehearsal time you had with them, and if there was anything special that you did to develop your relationships.
Well, you may know, but on film, if you get rehearsal, you're lucky. That doesn't usually happen. Once in a while, you'll have a director who will sit down with the whole cast and read the script and, work on it and talk about it. Maybe break it down for a few days. Doesn't happen very often. So usually by the time you've auditioned and you've been cast, you hope you've met the actor before you walk on the set to have to play the scene. So I don't recall any rehearsal for Fatal Attraction. No. We certainly had a table read of it. I think only one. And then that was a rich enough budget that your rehearsal is right before you shoot. You sort of sort out you read it through, you sort out the blocking, and you run through it a few times. And it's really expected that the homework has already been done by you on your own, alone. And so you come to the set with what you're bringing, and then you run through it as many times as the first AD will allow before he realizes the schedule is getting dangerously long. And then you shoot it. And the one thing about Fatal Attraction is Adrian Lyne would do as many takes as necessary until he got it. So that's what also made you feel relaxed, because it's like you're rehearsing on film. Now there are directors who do too many takes, and that can make you completely crazy too. But everybody kind of knew. And the nice thing about Fatal Attraction, by the time I got to that, is that you had monitors, so the minute you shot, you could see what it looked like. And the early part of my career, that didn't exist. It was on film, and you had no idea until you got to the dailies what it looked like. And the director, he hoped what he saw through his lens was what he got. And but a monitor really allows for rehearsal on film, is what it allows.
It's a real dangerous thing, because when you have Video Village and there's a monitor and an actor wants to see it, you go, oh my God, she's going to, or he's going to hate everything. And we're going to end up shooting more and more. Letting them see their performance as it happens can be dangerous too. There's someone right here.
The car crash scene at Patriot Games, was that scary or intimidating?
Yeah, that was, speaking of things I really hated shooting, that would be one. They shut down the 105 freeway. It was actually, or maybe it was just finishing being built, I can't remember. And they had a stunt gal there, but Philip Noyce, the director, was really big on pushing me to shoot all of the sequences with cars going at about pretty fast, 50 miles an hour, right next to me with the camera. And then, having, it was, I hated it. I'm not a natural stunt girl, actually. And it was dangerous. And I was told I shouldn't have done it, by people afterward. The stunt lady should have done it. But you have to watch that. And I do actually, which reminds me, I do have a great story that deals with that. I did this film called Narrow Margin with Gene Hackman, and it all takes place on a train up in near Whistler in above Vancouver. And we were shooting a lot of sequences on top of a train, and there was this one sequence. I sat around in my trailer all day waiting to shoot this one scene where I have to hang from the side of a train, and they rigged this harness with my arm in a harness and my body underneath my clothes. And so we get, now finally it's like 4 o'clock and they're ready to shoot it, and they're losing their light. And so we get out there and they get me all rigged into this thing, and I can feel, and now the train's going to move and go through a tunnel, and I can feel that the harness is pulling on my arm. And I said, have you already tested this once with the stunt lady? And there's dead silence. No. I said, don't you think you should do this once first with the stunt lady to be sure it's okay? Okay, that's a wrap. Because once I asked that question, now it's serious. Now if anything goes wrong, I ask the question, they're not going to get away with it. So they tested it with a stunt lady. They wrapped me, and they tested it with the stunt lady, and she dislocated her arm. So it was a great lesson to me, and I learned that, crews and everybody's caring, but they're under a tremendous amount of pressure, and sometimes bad decisions get made. So don't be too trusting. Don't be a scaredy cat, and try and make it go right for people, and get what you can, and be brave, and do the best you can, but also be smart. And so that was a great lesson for me, actually. And then, the really funny thing is that 6 months later, when the film was about to come out, and we were doing our press in Las Vegas, with all the video and all the press there and everything, Gene Hackman is there, and I'm in the green room, and I can hear him doing all of his interviews in the other room. And they asked him, because he had to hang off the side of the train too, and what about that? And didn't you have a stunt man for that? And he said, well, I was going to have a stunt man, but then when Archer said she'd do it, I figured I had to. And I realized the director had said to him, well, Archer's going to go on top of the train. And then what was he going to do, be a wimp and say, well, I'm not? And so I thought, now I get it. Anyway.
She could have been responsible for killing Gene Hackman. Back here.
Hi, my question is, what are you looking forward to? Are there any stories that you really want to tackle or tell as an artist or as a producer?
Yeah, I'm going to continue with this play I was telling you about. We're going to do it in New York, and that takes an enormous amount of energy. So that's the main thing my attention is on right now. And then, I don't know, actors always feel like there's nothing ahead of them, and all of a sudden there's something right in your face. I've always found that, just as you think, there's some beautiful gift that falls in your lap. So that's the nature of being an actor. You have to be willing to live that kind of a life.
Back here.
As an actress, was there any point in your career that you questioned or doubted yourself? And if so, how did you overcome it?
Any point in my career that I'd question what?
Or doubted yourself as an actress going into a role?
Actors? Doubt themselves? I never heard of some. You always deal with that. Yeah. Confidence is always, you always think well, I used to more, I don't so much now, fear of failure or can I pull this off? You'll hear a lot of actors say, I think there's some truth to it, that that concern is sometimes what makes you good because you're so willing to dedicate yourself completely because you don't want to fail, and so you really work hard to make, and you get yourself through it, and it brings you to another level. If it's really easy, it's easy to walk through it, isn't it? If it's hard, you're not going to walk through it. You're going to figure out how to get there, and that journey is what'll make it great.
Do you have a favorite character?
Probably Jane, the one I'm doing now. But I think it's very much a reflection of we often love what we're doing at the moment. I really like doing Jane.
Mm-hmm. How about a film director? Anybody you've worked with that really stood out as someone you just so enjoyed working with?
Robert Altman. He's very improvisatory, and he lets you be very creative. That was an amazing experience for me. And I loved working with Adrian Lyne on Fatal Attraction.
Patrick, would you consider coming and seeing us sometime?
I saw it. I would love to see a new version of it, actually. I came and visited about 4 or 5 years ago. Gold brought me to see, but this is before I think you had done the rewrite. Yeah, no, it'd be wonderful, absolutely.
Send her tickets, you never know. There was a question here, somewhere closer. Oh, right there, this young man.
You've done both live theater and film. Which is your favorite, or are they usually?
I think, and I think you find a lot of actors who say this, I tend to love what I'm doing at the moment. So when I'm in the middle of a film, I'd say, oh, this is so rich, you can get exactly what you want, and you get it till it's perfect. And then when I'm in the middle of a play, I say getting on the stage every night is the most rewarding. At the moment, I'm in my theater mode, so.
How have you kept yourself? I told you about working with Daryl Hannah. You're another actor like this. You're not all over the tabloids. You're pretty private. Your family's sort of private. How have you managed over the years to keep that level of privacy in your career?
I've never, even as a child, I've never been attracted to fame or attention. No matter how powerful the people were around me, fame for fame's sake is not interesting to me. So to be in the tabloids or get attention in the media is not interesting. What's interesting to me is the work, the creative work, being an artist. And I think because of that, when I sense there's interest that is either gossipy or irrelevant or something, I probably tend to steer away from it. And especially today with social media, I think you have to be so smart and so wise and so mature, and you have to have a lot of character. And I think that today there's a tendency to think that being famous is a profession. No, it's not. It's how good you are and how great you are and what your contributions are and how much you entertain, how much you make people laugh, how much you make them cry, your ability in that, and as an artist. And we could look at all the arts from the same viewpoint. So, yeah, I've never particularly cared about the fame. And I think I can't say that my publicists like that. I think it annoys the heck out of them, frankly, because there are things I just don't want to do. And I probably make mistakes. I get invited to a lot of premieres and a lot of events, and I frankly hate the red carpet. I really do. It's sort of awkward, unless it's my film. In other words, if I'm in it, or I produce it or direct it, or it's my best friend or something where I have purpose for being there, then I'm very happy to do it. But if I'm just there for the red carpet, no, that doesn't particularly interest me.
As a director too, I teach at the Screen Actors Guild Conservatory, teach directing for the camera, for the director, and I always ask my students, what is it you want to get out of this whole acting thing? And literally it's usually young women, and that's sad, I don't know why, but mostly it's young women who say, well, I want to be famous, or I want to be a movie star. And it's like, as a director, you go, well, I don't want to work with you. I don't, I find it quite interesting that with social media and everything, there's a lot of younger actors coming up who it's more about the fame than it is about the work. I think that's kind of sad.
Yeah, I think that's happened a little bit it's always been true to some extent, but now with social media, it's pretty rampant, and I hope that this is a phase we're going through, and we'll start hearing voices out there that talk about the quality of what you do or what you do and what one's contribution is. There are a lot of young people who really want to be in our industry because they want to help help something, whether they're documentary filmmakers or whether they're making movies about interesting things or just good storytellers. They're in it for the right reasons too, so I don't want to minimize there's a whole movement of youth who do care about this world and do want to produce products that move us in the right direction and are not interested in fame. So we have to put that out there too, because it's true.
No small mountain village would be complete without its favorite local breakfast spot. And the Red Kettle restaurant in Idyllwild, California is just that place. As Idyllwild's premier downtown breakfast and lunch restaurant, the Red Kettle is exactly what you'd expect. Great food, friendly service, and quaint small town charm, the Red Kettle is the heart of Idyllwild's village life. And as an official sponsor of the Idyllwild International Festival of Cinema, all festival badge wearers are treated to a 10% discount on every order. The Red Kettle restaurant, Idyllwild, California. Home-style cooking all year round.
Looking for great Mexican cuisine in Idyllwild, California? Look no further than La Casita, Idyllwild's #1 spot for authentic Mexican fare, serving up both traditional and north-of-the-border specialties. La Casita is also famous for its great beer and wine selection, and the best margaritas to be found anywhere. La Casita, an official sponsor of the Idyllwild International Film Festival, and simply the best Mexican food around.
Let us introduce you to Idyllwild's premier boutique inn, Harvey House, an official sponsor of the Idyllwild International Festival of Cinema, featuring premium amenities and luxurious accommodations amidst the backdrop of the majestic San Jacinto Mountains. Situated on the banks of tranquil Strawberry Creek, Harvey House offers our guests perfectly appointed accommodations in which to relax, unwind, and enjoy yourself in privacy and style. Our professionally designed property lends an atmosphere of comfort and repose unmatched just about anywhere, making your stay most memorable indeed. Harvey House, Idyllwild, California. Find us at harveyhouseid.com.
Have you taught acting?
No, my husband's taught acting a lot, though. No, I haven't.
Huh. Seems like she would be some dad one. Back here?
Yes, as an art consumer, what are you watching, reading now that's got you inspired?
Oh, you're really going to laugh. Well, I'm really into documentaries lately. This year, there are a lot of them coming before the Academy that I'm looking forward to seeing. I've seen The 13th about our prison system. I don't know if you've seen that. It's
good.
Unbelievable. Probably will win. We'll see. I've gotten into these Audible books. Because I drive so much, and I've just read to Hamilton. Started with Hamilton. I was curious because of the musical. I thought came from this book, and I really want to know more. And then I did George Washington and John Adams and Thomas Jefferson. I did all four of them, and I feel like I have a whole new relationship with the founding of this country.
Is there a hand up anywhere? Way in the back there?
Your work with children and immigrant communities goes all the way back to what, Hoover High School? And how has that influenced you?
Now, you say I've worked with the immigrant communities?
Yes, in San Diego.
You got to help me a little bit there because I'm not quite sure what you're referring to.
Hoover High School.
Hoover High School.
No, I think you have me mixed up with somebody else.
I could very easily.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Any back here? There's a couple in the back. Then we'll come this way.
What's your feeling on the VOD versus theater from an actor's standpoint? With the movies coming out now bypassing theater.
Well, the thing is, it's just the age we're living in. There's a lot more material available for all of us to see. Movie theaters don't seem to survive unless they're very big budget action films. And I think some of the best stuff is on television now myself. I mean, I'm addicted to it. Some of the most exciting shows, what I look forward to is, whether it's Netflix or Amazon or HBO, those fantastic product. I don't know. Some of them can't survive in the theaters. They just don't have a big enough audience, or they can't probably put the kind of advertising campaigns into them that they need to be in a big theater. So I think we all have to just embrace the new age. If we live in the past and we say it should be the way it was before, it's not going to be. So I think, we're in an internet world. We're getting smaller. You have to look at what is positive. We're learning more about the rest of the world than we ever have before. And that has real value because the more we communicate with each other, the better our planet's going to be. And so I think it is what it is. And it's going to change again by next year. The question will be slightly different.
You binge watch?
What?
Do you binge watch?
Binge watch, yes. I used to. I have to be careful about that. I don't get enough sleep, but I make myself not do that anymore. But I'll binge watch during the early evening into the evening, but not into the middle of the night anymore. That was a bad habit.
We had something a little further back here.
My question's kind of, maybe it's not appropriate. What's your thoughts on the political backlash that's being praised for Meryl's comments on her work with this petition?
My organization, Artists for Human Rights, the point is that artists can change hearts and minds overnight. Movies like Blood Diamond, for instance, cleaned up the diamond industry, which no one was really looking at. You're going to see, or if you haven't already, some films this year that are really significant in changing people's attitudes and hearts and minds about things. And so I really value the artist and the artist's voice. I think it's really important. And she's probably our greatest artist alive today. And measured and thoughtful and intelligent and articulate. So hearing her speak out about a human right, not humiliating, someone with a disability, not being a bully, really speaking with dignity and character and intelligence and education and articulateness on issues, I think is really important. And she represents all that for me. So, that's what artists do. Thank God. We've got them.
You were talking about the trial of Jane Fonda, and you guys are taking it around the world, around the country, and you told me this morning that you were hoping to take it to New York. That was a goal. What's the process to get a play like that, let's say on Broadway?
Well, we're discovering it. I guess there are several ways. I think we'll have to do it in other cities and get reviewed well. We were very well reviewed in London, and we got nominated as Best New Play. New York is a clique, and you can't just walk in like you own the place. So we have to earn our way there, and we'll do it right because we're aware of that. So
Hugh Jackman said that when he first hit Broadway, there was an anti-movie star.
Yeah. Well, they certainly got off that, didn't they? Like I said, change. It happens.
Hands, I saw a couple. Anyone? There's in the middle. We'll work our way back in the middle.
Hi, Ann. Thanks so much for coming today.
Thank you for having me. Absolutely.
What's the best advice someone's ever given you in our industry, and what advice could you give young children that are also in the industry?
Wow, best advice ever given me. I always think of that. I probably won't get it right. It's not best advice, but I always think of, who said this? Was it Gloria Swanson or Betty Davis? Betty Davis's line, what's the best advice you could give me about being in Hollywood? You have to live in LA to understand this. And she said, take Fountain. And yeah, it's kind of, and if you live in LA, you know that the big studio, especially back then, was Paramount and Columbia. All the big studios were over there. And to get across town, don't go on Sunset, don't go on Santa Monica, take Fountain. That used to be fast, it isn't anymore. Anyway, so that when people say that, I always think of her line because it's like so perfect. I don't know that there was any great advice. I think as a young actor, I sort of said it, act, and do theater if you can. If you can't get jobs, I think do theater anyway. If you want to be if you look at the great film actors today, and even on television, the great actors, and they're going back and forth between television and film now, they all have a very strong theater background. When I was young, and my mother's generation, that wasn't true. You got a studio contract, or you studied at the studio with somebody, and there weren't great acting classes, and people in Hollywood acting on film had no theater experience. But today, that is very rare, and England, frankly, has set the standard. Some of our greatest performers now are from England, are performing in all of our television and film. So I would say get a good theater background, go to a really good school that understands that process, and study.
A little further back, there was someone. I can't see a thing, so shout it out if you have a question. Anyone?
Well, what are some of your favorite television shows?
Oh, at the moment, every year I have new ones. I'm loving one right now called Good Behavior with Michelle Dockery, who Downton Abbey, you might remember her. I think it's on TNT actually, but I watch it on Apple TV. I binge watch that one. The Crown, about Queen Elizabeth. Each year, when the Americans first came on the air, I loved the Americans, and obviously Game of Thrones, and I don't know, I've kind of gone through most of them. The Night Manager, if you've never seen that, that's nice to watch. It's only, I think, 8 episodes, and it's with, what's his name? Tom Hiddleston? I don't know, I'm blanking on his. Anyway, who's also played Bond. Anyway, it's really good. There's some really great things on television. Yeah. I just want to say how appreciative I am of Stephen, and what an amazing job he does to pull this festival together, and his contribution and his support of young people starting up in the industry, and people who want to get involved, and making it possible for them to learn and not make it intimidating. Just get in there and do it. And I think this is a huge contribution you're making to the artistic community.
That's so
we really appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's Ann Archer.
All right, and there you have it, my 2017 on-stage interview with Ann Archer. And we hope you enjoyed it this second time around. So
I did.
Good. So, Nicole, anything you'd like to say before we sign off on this episode?
No, but can you give me next time a grand sign-off as much as a grand sign-on?
You don't ask for much. Okay, well, then that'll about wrap it up for this episode of the Stephen Savage Show. So for our engineer, Maurice Sudo, and the entire Radio Free Idyllwild team, as well as Nicole Hughes-Bradshaw and myself, thanks for listening, everyone, and remember to listen as if no one is watching. See ya. Thanks again, Nicole.
Thank you.
Some days it's bound to rain, for we are loved.
It's cool, it's hip, and it's where Idyllwild goes for burgers, fries, sub sandwiches, ice cream, and more. Atomic Cow, downtown Idyllwild, California. Official sponsor of the Idyllwild International Festival of Cinema. Fast, fierce, and filmmaker friendly. Be there or be square. Atomic Cow.
Born out of creativity and desire, the Peak Restaurant and Bar at Tahquitz Pines is a must-see experience for anyone visiting the beautiful alpine village of Idyllwild, California. Featuring a mix of local and international cuisine, the Peak Restaurant and Bar is the centerpiece of the Tahquitz Resort. Set amid gorgeous mountain surroundings and miles of hiking trails, the Peak is unlike any other eatery around. And, as an official sponsor of the Idyllwild International Festival of Cinema, the Peak is home of the event's famous Filmmakers Village every year. The Peak Restaurant at Tahquitz Pines Retreat. Come dine with us.
Idyllwild, California is known for its many quaint shops, but none is more quaint or special than Shala Tea Company in downtown Idyllwild. With a wide variety of regional, international, and exotic blends to choose from, Shala is more than just a tea shop. It's an experience for the soul. As an official sponsor of the Idyllwild International Festival of Cinema, Shala Tea Company offers a discount for all festival badge holders. And what film festival journey would be complete without just the right tea bag in your travel cup? Shala Tea Company, Idyllwild, California. Experience it.
Every small town has that one special spot, a place where strangers become friends and friends share great times together. Idyllwild, California has just that spot, Terrence Place Pub and Gallery, where live music and good company create amazing memories. We feature fine wines along with international and domestic tap beers. Our vibe is welcoming, fun, and eclectic. Terrence Place Pub and Gallery is proud to be an official sponsor of the Idyllwild International Festival of Cinema. Come and experience the alpine charm of Terrence Place, located in a village lane in downtown Idyllwild, California. We invite you to stop by and have a great time.
Thank you for listening to Radio Free Idyllwild, the official music and podcast station for Idyllwild, California, the San Jacinto Mountains, and beyond.